Hey, this is Simeon from PraiseTracks.com. And as a traveling musician, sometimes you run into some really strange challenges. But sometimes those challenges turn out to be some really neat surprises. And so today we're going to take a look at Focusrite Scarlett 4i4 audio interface. So stay tuned. Welcome back. And recently, it was around July of last year, I was on the road, and I take my MacBook Pro and an audio interface with me that has MIDI and that type of thing. So I play virtual instruments so I can plug them into any kind of controller and just have the sounds that I like to use. Well, on this particular occasion, it was like there were some strange things happening with audio and that kind of thing, and I wasn't quite sure if it was my interface or not. And so, man, I really needed to have something that I could be sure of. So I ran down to the local music store, and they had the Focusrite series of interfaces. And I've heard a lot about the third-gen interfaces from Focusrite, so I thought I would try. I borrowed one of those interfaces and tried it out. And lo and behold, what I thought was going to be a really bad situation turned out to be a great surprise, because I found out that the Focusrite 4i4 that I borrowed temporarily to use on this particular date, it really worked great. And so Focusrite sent me one to unbox, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it. And so we're going to do that right now. I've got my trusty box opener here, and let's just kind of take a look and see what we've got in here. And I'm telling you, once we get into this, you're going to see what I discovered. And I wanted to go ahead and just do this initial unboxing experience so you can just see exactly why I like this interface so much. So the first thing that caught my eye was, man, this is it. This is it right here. And don't let the size fool you, because there's a lot of power in this little box here. So let's go ahead and just go on in here. And so what I found out is it's very simple. They give you some instructions, and we're gonna connect it, and we're gonna have the full experience of what using this is gonna be. So this is the accessories, and the only thing that's in here, you have a USB-C to a USB-A connector. I think that's it. It's just the standard USB connector, USB 2.0. And a lot of companies are now using the USB-C connector standard, because, a lot of times when you plug in the normal USB, it's like you plug it in, or you try to plug it in, you flip it over and then you flip it back and plug it in. So USB-C is totally reversible, so you can just plug it in and go. And here we have. Here it is here. So, and then you have the only other thing in the box you have is just like a safety instructions and that kind of thing. So, and we'll just put that away. Let's open this, and I will show you. So very simple, yeah. And that's the first thing that I thought about when I initially tried the 4i4, is it's solid. This build is very solid, and I love just really beautiful red colors like this, colors that kind of pop, and this just feels solid in your hand. So just looking at the layout here, you've got two front combo jacks, so you can do instruments or XLR microphone inputs. You've got two there, and you have the individual gain controls here. You have a monitor control here that sends the signal out to the your connected speakers. Then you have a separate headphone volume control, which I really appreciate, because you can not have to rely on just the monitor control. You have a phantom power switch on the front end, and then you also have just LED indicators, which are not illuminated because we haven't connected it. So on the back side, you have the Kensington lock, so you can lock this down if it's in your studio. You have the USB-C connector here that goes in. You notice one thing also that really impressed me was that it's bus powered, so no separate power supply. So you plug it right into to your USB, and you have power to the interface. Also, another thing, you have built-in in and out, MIDI in and out, so you don't have to use a pigtail or another dongle or type of thing or extension cable. That's what makes this so great for travel and for portable use, because it eliminates the amount of additional accessories you're going to have to take. Power supply, just extension cables, MIDI extension cables, that kind of thing. And on the back you have four, let's see, yeah. So you have two more line inputs. You have line input, line and instrument inputs 1 and 2 here. And then you have an additional pair of inputs 3 and 4. So you can connect up to 4 different sources. So microphone, keyboard, guitar, that kind of thing. You also have 4 separate line outputs. So this is great if you're going to different monitors or different, PA. So you can have outputs to go to the front of house or to your personal monitoring system or that kind of thing. So, but this thing is built very solid. I mean, the build quality is just excellent, and you've got to have that when it's on the road. And one of the cool things is that this serves, for me, it just serves as a protection. So I can just put this, put this back in the plastic and just put this right in the box and just put it in my bag and go. And so this just really acts as a nice way of protecting this interface without adding a bunch of extra bulk. And since it's so simple in your connections and things using just one USB cable, it's fast. It's very fast to set up. So now that we've seen the hardware, we're going to go ahead and connect it to the PC and see what that experience looks like as far as setting up the drivers and that kind of thing. So we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. And so now let's connect the Scarlett 4i4 to the PC, and I'll walk you through the initial setup of the interface itself. So what I've done, I went ahead and plugged the USB-C cable into just one of the USB connectors on the front of the PC here. And all you do, you just connect it to the USB-C, that's the lock. So this is the USB, and it says setting up device on Windows 10. Now this is Windows 10. I've got all the latest updates there. And so I'm going to minimize the browser window here. And we're going to see, okay, so it says it's set up and ready to go. So I'm just going to see, okay, click here to get started. So basically, when you connect it, it sets up some things, and it looks like it creates a like a little drive here. So let's go ahead and say click to get started. And so when we click that, it'll take us to the setup website, which I think is really cool. So it says let's get you started. So I clicked on let's get started, and so you have an area here. You can create an account, and then you can download the essential software from Focusrite. They give you just a really neat collection of plugins. You get one of XLN Audio's Addictive Keys, so like you could get one of their pianos, or which is really cool. They've got some really nice sounding pianos. They also have some really interesting plug-in offers periodically. They just had one from UJam, like Virtual Guitarist, and all kinds of interesting software that you can do. It includes a version of Ableton Live, and then also a version of Pro Tools. You have some tutorials, and then you have an opportunity to register with Scarlett for like warranties and that kind of thing, and to make sure you can get your downloads. So once you've registered your device with your Focusrite account, then you go to download the Focusrite control software, and we'll go ahead and run this. and we're going to go through and accept all of these things and install this. We're going to do, let's see, go just do the USB driver, and we're going to install that. And so now you can see the LEDs are working a little bit better because we've got power. It also shows where we've got USB connectivity here. And it says we've got to restart the computer. Okay, so I'll restart the computer and we'll come back and I'll show you the Focusrite control. Okay, we're back, and I've restarted the computer, and when it restarted and I logged in, it recognized the Scarlett 4i4 interface. And so I'm just going to set it right here. And again, the size and everything, it just fits right into wherever you are. And if you're on stage or whatever, I mean, this is just going to fit perfect with whatever you've got going on, because the form factor is just it's just very nice. I just really love the form factor and the build. So let's get on with it. So when this comes up, this is what you're going to see on the screen. It says that your Scarlett is currently in MSD quick start mode. Please click OK to restart. And the quick start mode is kind of like that little bit of memory that has the README and that kind of thing to help you get the interface registered, as well as be able to download the software and everything that you need to get started. So once you've restarted the computer, then it's time to go ahead and get into the restart mode here. Okay, so there we go. And it says, welcome back, Simeon. Let's continue. And then it walks you through some tutorials on how to set up the Focusrite control, which is really interesting. So it's like it's really thoughtful what they've done to help you get started. You have all kinds of tutorials and things that you can do. So basically, this is what the Focusrite control looks like. You have the loopback control. That's to mix incoming audio with your computer audio for streaming and that kind of thing. Capturing like things coming from a browser or from another application. You have your monitor outputs. You can have a custom mix, and you can select like the playback from the DAW. You've got 4 outputs from that, hardware inputs, and that type of thing. You also can save profiles. So let's say you've got one set up for your home studio, and then you have another setup for when you're traveling. So you can have a custom profile set up that you can load, and that just allows it to be very flexible. So recently, Focusrite has introduced a beta version of their Focusrite control drivers, and I've used it, before the year started. I downloaded it and started using it, and it was really a game changer because it really brought the promise of having multiple outputs and inputs to use for streaming. Because I do a lot of tutorials and that type of thing, and initially the loopback outputs were not necessarily showing up, but with this new beta driver, things really opened up in that area. Also, using virtual instruments, if you use Cubase or if you use Cakewalk by BandLab, which is the DAW I frequently use the most, the latency, I'm able to get the latency down so much, and this is with my older computer. I'm really looking forward to seeing what type of performance I'm going to get with my new system. I built an Intel i9 9900K, which I'm just so excited to get started with. That's why I just wanted to wait for this connection, because this is connecting to my new computer system, and I can't wait to see how this performs. It was performing very well with an i5 3570K, and I could get the latency down just almost like 128 buffers, and the latency was very, very tight. It was very good. And so there we have it, the Focusrite Scarlett 4i4 interface. I've enjoyed using it so much, and in contacting their support, Focusrite support's very responsive, and they're constantly trying to improve their drivers and stability and to add more features, and so I really appreciate that. And so thank you for watching, and thank you, Focusrite. And if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below, and I'll try my best to answer your questions. And if it's your first time here, go ahead and hit that subscribe and notification bell, because there's a lot of great things coming, and I can't wait to share it with you. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you soon.